Ever catch yourself doing something a little quirky and wonder, like, why on earth do I do that?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Well, today's deep dive might just have some answers for us.
Ooh.
We're going to unlock the secrets of Quirk. Brain Science Makes Sense of Your Peculiar Personality by Hannah Holmes.
So this book, it's really like a backstage pass to your own brain.
I'd love that.
It's not just about labeling our quirks, but really getting down to the science behind them. You know, like genes,
Yeah.
brain chemistry, how evolution, even our environment play a role. It's fascinating.
You know, I've always been fascinated by those little things that make us tick.
Yeah.
Like, why are some people, like, crave adventure,
Mm-hmm.
while others are like, I'm good with my quiet night in, thank you very much. Like, is it nature?
Right.
Nurture. Or some secret recipe our brains are cooking up.
Yeah, that's exactly what this book tackles.
Okay, good.
Like right from the get-go, in the first chapter, Holmes just throws down this gauntlet, asking,
Okay.
what if your quirks are actually clues to how your brain is wired?
Ooh, that's a pretty intriguing thought.
Right.
Yeah,
It makes you think.
it does. It makes you think. So what does the science actually say? How much of our personality is, like, hardwired into our DNA?
So chapter 2, it dives into this whole world of genes and personality.
Wait.
And one of the, I think, key takeaways here is while genes are powerful, they don't totally dictate our destiny.
Okay, so there's hope for us control freaks yet.
Exactly. We're not just puppets of our DNA.
Ooh, okay, good. So tell me more about this genetic blueprint.
Okay, so think of it this way.
Okay.
Genes, they provide the ingredients, right?
Yeah.
But our environment, that's the master chef who decides how those ingredients are used.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. And Holmes gives some really cool examples.
What's
Like, have you ever heard of the DRD4 gene?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, it's been linked to novelty seeking.
Novelty seeking. Okay.
So that explains that friend who's constantly jumping out of planes trying, like, the most exotic foods.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Is that a gene? Can I borrow that gene?
Right. Maybe we both could use a little bit more of that. But seriously, like, variations in this gene can explain why some people are just naturally drawn to new experiences, risk-taking.
Okay.
And then there's another one, the SIRT gene.
Okay.
And this one influences serotonin levels.
Okay.
This is a big player when it comes to mood regulation.
Uh-huh.
It can impact things like anxiety and depression.
That makes a lot of sense. I've definitely noticed different people have, like, different baselines for anxiety.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating. So yeah, so genes set the stage,
Okay.
but our experiences and environment, they do the fine-tuning.
Gotcha. So it's this, like, incredible dance between nature and nurture that makes us who we are.
Exactly. And that leads us to chapter 3, where things get really interesting.
Oh,
We're going inside the brain.
Okay.
Into this amazing chemical factory that is influencing, like, our every thought, feeling, action.
I'm picturing, like, tiny scientists in lab coats mixing up potions that make us bold or shy.
Right. It's incredible.
So break it down for me. What are these chemicals and what are they doing?
Okay, so one of the stars of the show is dopamine.
Okay.
Think of it as the brain's reward system. So whenever we do something pleasurable, dopamine gets released,
Okay.
giving us that feel-good buzz.
Okay.
So this helps explain why some people are just more driven by rewards, excitement. You know, they're always looking for that next hit.
So that friend who's always chasing the next thrill, they're probably riding a dopamine wave.
You got it.
Okay.
Then we have serotonin, which plays a key role in mood regulation.
Okay.
Like the brain's chill pill, helping us feel calm, content.
Okay.
When serotonin levels are balanced, we tend to be more emotionally stable. But when they're out of whack,
Yeah.
that's when we can experience anxiety, depression.
So if someone's generally pretty even-keeled and happy, they probably have their serotonin game on point.
I think so. I think you're right.
Okay. What about the folks who are always wired and ready for action?
Okay, so that's where norepinephrine comes in.
Okay.
It's the chemical behind our fight or flight response,
Ooh.
influencing our alertness, how we react to stress. Think of it as the brain's alarm system,
Okay.
priming us to either face a challenge or run for the hills.
Okay. That explains why I jump a mile high when someone sneaks up on me.
Right.
My norepinephrine's working overtime.
It's doing its job.
It is. It is. So we've got genes laying the foundation, brain chemicals adding their unique flavor, and our environment shaping the final product. But where does evolution fit into all of this?
So chapter 4 takes this fascinating look at how our evolutionary past has influenced our present-day quirks.
I'm already intrigued.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that traits we might consider quirks today
Yeah.
could have been essential for survival, way back when.
Wait, so being a nervous Nelly might have been an advantage for our ancestors.
Absolutely. A heightened sense of danger could have kept them safe from predators or other threats.
Mm,
Being a worrier might not be so fun in the modern world,
true.
but it could have been a lifesaver back then.
Okay, so maybe I shouldn't judge my anxious friends so harshly next time. Their brain might just be stuck in survival mode.
Yeah.
What about other traits?
Well, extroversion, being social, forming alliances,
Yeah.
that could have been crucial for surviving in groups,
Strength in numbers, yeah.
Exactly, strength in numbers. And then what about the introverts?
Yeah, were they just hiding in caves while everyone else was out socializing?
Not necessarily. Introversion, with its focus and concentration, could have been incredibly valuable for things like tool-making, strategizing, hunts.
Oh, okay.
Each personality type likely played a role in the survival of the species.
This is blowing my mind. So those quirks that make us stand out might actually be echoes of ancient adaptations.
Exactly. And the chapter also touches on another fascinating concept called sexual selection.
Sexual selection. Ooh, that sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
Okay. Think about the peacock's tail.
Okay, yeah.
It's not exactly practical for survival, right?
No, not really.
But it attracts mates, which is key for passing on genes. Humans might have similar traits that developed not for survival,
Okay.
but because they were attractive to potential partners.
So those quirky things that make someone stand out could be rooted in ancient mating strategies.
That's fascinating. So we've got this incredible tapestry woven from genes, brain chemistry, and evolution. But what about the role of our individual experiences?
That's where Chapter 5 comes in.
Okay.
And it's this powerful reminder that while our biology lays the groundwork,
Yeah.
our environment acts as the architect,
Okay.
shaping how our personalities express themselves.
So even if we're predisposed to certain traits, our experiences can still rewrite the script.
Absolutely.
Okay. Tell me more about how this environmental architect works its magic.
Well, one of the biggest influences is our childhood experiences.
Okay. How we interact with our parents and caregivers in those early years
Yeah.
can have a huge impact on our emotional development, our social skills.
It makes you realize how crucial those early years are.
Oh, they're so important.
Yeah. But it's not just childhood, is it? We're constantly being shaped by our experiences throughout life.
Oh, absolutely. Our cultural background plays a role, too.
Yep.
Different societies value different traits, shaping how we express ourselves and what we consider, normal behavior.
Okay.
So what might be seen as a quirky trait in one culture could be totally celebrated in another.
That's a great point. It's like our quirks are viewed through a cultural lens.
Yes.
And what about those big life events, the ups and downs that throw us curveballs? Do those shape our personalities too?
Definitely. Positive or negative, those significant life events, they can leave lasting impacts on us, maybe making us more resilient,
Okay.
more cautious,
Yeah. Okay.
or even changing our whole outlook on life.
It's like our personalities are constantly being molded and refined by the experiences we go through.
Exactly. We're not static beings.
No.
Our experiences, relationships, even the choices we make,
Yeah.
they continue to shape who we are. And speaking of choices, that leads us to Chapter 6.
Okay.
Where Holmes encourages us to kind of embrace our unique selves and make peace with our quirks.
That sounds like a welcome message in a world that often pressures us to fit in and conform. I'm ready to hear more about this self-acceptance journey.
Let's dive in. It's fascinating how Quirk kind of shifts gears in this chapter.
Yeah.
It moves from the science of personality to the art of self-acceptance.
Right. It's like Holmes is saying, okay, now that you understand the why behind your quirks, let's talk about how to rock them.
Exactly. And the book emphasizes that understanding our quirks,
Okay.
where they come from, how they influence us,
Yeah.
can be incredibly liberating.
Yeah. It's like finally getting the instruction manual for your own brain.
Right.
Instead of fighting against those quirky tendencies, we can learn to work with them.
Precisely. And the book encourages us to leverage our strengths.
Okay.
Those things we're naturally good at.
Yeah.
And find ways to use our unique traits to our advantage.
So, for example, if someone's a natural introvert, maybe they find a career that allows them to work independently or focus on deep thinking tasks.
Right?
They can channel that introversion into something that plays to their strengths.
That's a great example. And it's not just about careers.
Right.
It can apply to any area of life. Someone who's highly organized
Yeah.
might find joy in planning elaborate events or creating intricate systems for managing their home.
Right. It's about recognizing that our quirks can be superpowers if we harness them the right way.
Absolutely. And equally important is acknowledging our weaknesses,
Okay.
not as flaws,
Yeah.
but as areas where we might need to develop, like coping mechanisms or seek support.
Like if someone's prone to anxiety, maybe they explore mindfulness techniques or build a strong support system to help them navigate those challenging moments.
Exactly. It's not about denying those aspects of ourselves,
Right.
but rather finding healthy ways to work with them.
The book also emphasizes the importance of self-awareness through practices like journaling and meditation. I've always found those to be really helpful tools for understanding my own patterns.
Those practices can be incredibly valuable for gaining insight into,
Yeah.
our thoughts, emotions, and behavioral patterns.
Yeah.
They allow us to observe ourselves with more objectivity,
Yeah.
compassion,
Mhm.
which can lead to greater self-acceptance.
It's like taking a step back from the daily whirlwind of thoughts and just noticing them without judgment.
Right.
That can be so powerful for personal growth.
Absolutely. It helps us break free from those negative self-talk loops and cultivate a more supportive inner dialogue.
Yeah, for sure. Chapter 7 takes a more practical turn, exploring how understanding brain science and personality can improve various aspects of our lives.
It's really where Quirk shines in terms of applicability.
Oh, yeah.
It's taking all this knowledge we've gained and putting it into action.
I'm always eager to bridge the gap between theory and practice, so I'm excited to dive into this.
Okay, well, one key area where this knowledge can make a huge difference is communication.
Okay.
By recognizing that people have different communication styles based on their personality traits, we can interact with more empathy and understanding.
So instead of getting frustrated when someone doesn't communicate the way we expect,
Right.
we can try to adapt our approach based on their individual style.
Exactly. It's about understanding that what might seem clear and direct to one person
Yeah.
could come across as harsh or insensitive to another.
Right.
We need to be mindful of those nuances.
This makes me think about how I approach conversations with my partner. We have very different communication styles, and learning to navigate those differences has been crucial for our relationship.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
And it's not just about romantic relationships. It applies to our interactions with friends, family members,
Right. Colleagues.
colleagues, anyone we communicate with.
Yeah, for sure. The book also highlights how understanding personality types can enhance collaboration,
Yes.
especially in team settings.
This is something I've seen firsthand in my work.
Oh.
A team with a diverse mix of personality traits can be incredibly powerful
Okay.
if those differences are recognized and valued.
So instead of viewing those differences as obstacles,
Yeah,
we can see them as assets.
exactly. Different perspectives and approaches can lead to more creative problem solving and innovation.
It's like the old saying, two heads are better than one.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it's about embracing the value of multiple personalities.
Right. Each individual brings their unique strengths and weaknesses to the table.
Yeah.
And when those differences are recognized and valued,
Mm-hmm.
the team as a whole can achieve much greater results.
I like that. The chapter also touches on decision-making.
Okay.
How does understanding our quirks help us make better choices?
It's about recognizing our own biases and tendencies.
Okay.
For example, someone who knows they're prone to impulsivity might develop strategies to slow down their decision-making process
Okay.
and consider potential consequences more carefully.
So it's about working with our natural inclinations rather than against them?
Precisely. It's about leveraging self-awareness to make more informed and aligned decisions. So if you tend to overthink things,
Okay.
maybe you set a deadline for yourself to prevent analysis paralysis.
Right.
Or if you're prone to people-pleasing,
Yeah.
maybe you practice setting boundaries
Okay.
to ensure your own needs are met.
So it's like having a personalized toolkit for navigating decision-making based on your unique personality.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And lastly, the book emphasizes how understanding our brain's response to stress can improve our ability to manage challenging situations.
This is so important, especially in today's world.
Right?
It seems like stress is a constant companion for many of us.
Absolutely. By recognizing our typical stress responses, whether it's withdrawing, getting irritable, or feeling overwhelmed,
Yeah.
we can develop coping mechanisms that work for us.
So instead of letting stress control us, we can take charge by understanding our patterns
Exactly.
and finding healthy outlets.
Whether it's exercise, meditation, spending time in nature, or seeking support from loved ones,
Yeah.
it's about having a toolbox of strategies to navigate those inevitable ups and downs of life.
And remembering that what works for one person might not work for another.
Right.
It's about finding what resonates with your individual personality and needs.
Quirk has really opened my eyes to this fascinating interplay of nature and nurture.
Yeah.
Brain chemistry, and personal experiences that shape who we are. It's this powerful reminder that our differences aren't deficiencies, but rather unique expressions of our individuality.
I love that perspective shift. It's not about striving for some idealized version of normal,
Right.
but rather embracing the beautiful mosaic of personalities that make up our world.
And that understanding these quirks can empower us to communicate more effectively, collaborate more successfully, and navigate life's challenges with greater resilience.
Before we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I wanted to touch on the book's final chapter,
Okay.
Quirk Review.
Yes.
It seems like a great way to bring all these insights together.
This chapter provides a really concise overview of the key concepts explored throughout the book,
Okay.
emphasizing the practical applications of understanding brain science and personality.
It's like a cheat sheet for remembering the most important takeaways
Exactly.
and putting them into action.
It reiterates how these insights can enhance communication, foster collaboration, improve decision-making,
Yeah.
and promote overall well-being.
It's a reminder that understanding our quirks is not just about intellectual curiosity.
Right.
It's about empowering ourselves to live more fulfilling and connected lives.
The chapter also encourages readers to continue exploring the fascinating world of brain science and personality.
It sparked a desire in me to learn more about my own quirks and how they influence my thoughts, my feelings, my behaviors.
Yeah.
Like, why do I always rearrange the furniture every few months? Is there a gene for that?
Maybe, or maybe it's just your unique way of expressing your creativity and need for change.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this exploration.
Right.
There's always more to discover.
I'm already brainstorming ideas for our next deep dive into the realm of human behavior.
Ooh, exciting.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a moment to appreciate the wealth of knowledge we've gained from Quirk.
It's been an enlightening journey into the science of personality,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful to have shared this deep dive with you.
Me too. It's amazing how much we can learn about ourselves and others simply by understanding the quirky ways our brains work.
It's a reminder that embracing our individuality and celebrating the diversity of human personalities is essential for creating a more compassionate and understanding world.
Well said. I think we've covered the key highlights of Quirk.
Yeah, I think so.
Now it's time for our listeners to embark on their own explorations of self-discovery.
I encourage everyone to pick up a copy of Quirk and delve into this fascinating world of brain science and personality. You might be surprised by what you learn about yourself and those around you.
And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections on this deep dive.
Yeah.
Feel free to reach out to us on social media or through our website.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Yeah.
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
And embrace those quirks that make you uniquely you.
That's a wrap on this deep dive into Quirk. Brain science makes sense of your peculiar personality. We hope you've enjoyed this journey into the science of you. Stay curious, friends.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration.
It really is. And, you know, one thing that really stuck with me throughout this whole deep dive is how Quirk encourages us to view our quirks not as limitations, but as opportunities for growth and connection.
Yeah, it's a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of like always trying to fit into some narrow definition of normal,
Right.
we can celebrate all those unique traits that make us who we are.
It's those aha moments when you suddenly understand, like, oh, that's why I do that.
Right.
You know, that's just my brain chemistry at work, or that's a quirk I inherited from my ancestors.
Yeah.
And it takes the pressure off trying to be someone you're not, you know?
Absolutely. It's understanding that our differences aren't deficiencies. They're variations that contribute to like the richness of human experience. Imagine a world where everyone was exactly the same.
Yeah. How boring would that be?
Talk about a creativity killer.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if there's even such a thing as a normal personality. Maybe normal is just a construct,
Mm.
and true individuality lies in embracing our unique quirks.
I think you're onto something there. The book suggests that what we consider normal
Yeah.
is often shaped by, cultural norms, societal expectations. What might be seen as quirky or even eccentric in one culture
Yeah.
could be totally celebrated in another.
It's like our personalities are viewed through a cultural lens, and that lens can distort our perceptions of ourselves and others.
That's a great point. It highlights the importance of challenging those narrow definitions
Right.
and expanding our understanding of what constitutes a healthy or acceptable personality. Diversity is what makes life interesting.
Yeah, yeah. This book has definitely made me more aware of my own tendencies
Hmm.
and how they might affect my interactions with others. I'm starting to see those quirks not as things to hide or suppress,
Right.
but as facets of myself to understand and appreciate.
That's a fantastic takeaway. Self-awareness is the first step towards, more mindful and compassionate communication.
Yeah.
When we understand our own quirks, we can better navigate those moments when our tendencies might clash with those of others.
Yeah, I'm already thinking about how I can apply these insights to my relationships, both personal and professional. It's about meeting people where they are,
Hmm.
recognizing that their quirks are just as valid as our own.
That's the beauty of this knowledge. It's empowering and
Yeah.
transformative. It allows us to move beyond judgment and cultivate greater understanding, empathy in our interactions.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, for the grand finale, I'd love to hear your final thoughts on Quirk and what resonated most with you throughout this whole deep dive.
What really struck me was the book's emphasis on self-acceptance. It's about recognizing that our quirks they're part of what makes us unique,
Right.
and that trying to erase them would diminish our authenticity. It's about embracing the whole package, imperfections and all.
It's a powerful reminder that we don't have to change who we are to be worthy of love and belonging.
Yeah.
Our quirks are not flaws to be fixed,
Right.
but rather they're integral parts of our identity.
Exactly. It's about embracing our imperfections, celebrating our differences,
Yeah.
and recognizing that those very quirks are often, the source of our greatest strengths and creativity.
That's a beautiful message to leave our listeners with. Embrace your quirks, folks. They're what make you you.
I wholeheartedly agree. Embracing our quirks it's not just about personal growth, it's about fostering a more inclusive and compassionate world where everyone feels seen and valued for who they truly are.
Well said. This deep dive into Quirk has been an incredible journey of self-discovery, and I'm grateful to have shared it with you and our listeners.
Likewise. It's been a pleasure exploring this fascinating world of brain science and personality. I hope this conversation has sparked some curiosity and inspired a deeper understanding of yourselves and those around you.
And remember, dear listeners, your quirks are not flaws, they're your superpowers.
Yes.
Embrace them, celebrate them,
Use them.
and use them to make your unique mark on the world.
Until next time, stay curious, stay quirky, and keep exploring the wonders of human behavior.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration into the depths of knowledge. Until then, keep those brains buzzing.